Will Smith once joked that fame is like quicksand. The more you fight to stay clean, the deeper you sink. But what happens when the sand itself is wired for sound, when every hallway, every limo, every private jet is secretly recording your worst impulses? Federal investigators now say Sean Diddy Combs did exactly that for more than 2 decades, stashing away micro cameras and pinhole mics, hoarding enough leverage to start or finish any career in Hollywood. Tonight, we're prying open 7 explosive chapters that fuse covert surveillance, an unsolved nightclub shooting, and a looming RICO case that could detonate an entire music empire. At the center of the blast radius, the most famous couple in show business, and the uneasy rumor that one of those hidden tapes features Will Smith himself. Strap in, because everything you thought you knew about Bad Boy Records, The Fresh Prince, and the gilded veneer of celebrity privilege is about to collide with something darker, something taped, cataloged. And now, sitting in an evidence locker with a red sticker that reads RICO, open at trial.
You know, it was something that was so incomprehensible. You know, it was just so, it's hard to understand the level of human cruelty. That was a horrific night, as you can imagine. You know, there's many nuances and complexities to it, you know. But at the end of the day, I lost it, you know. And I guess what I would say, you just never know what somebody's going through.
Jay's speaking on it right now. He'll be one of the first dudes that they'll probably pull to the side and say, yo, well, you say that your man, I heard you on TMZ say that he never did this and he never did that, but ain't this you? If those pictures or those films or anything like that exist. You know what I'm saying? That's what they pay those agents to do. So, of course, I don't believe that none of the people who are his celebrity friends is gonna speak or say nothing until they're either contacted or they know what they really got.
So you feel like they might be worried that they might be on tape at one of Diddy parties doing something they wasn't supposed to be doing?
Diddy had, yo, bro, can you imagine? He had every room taped and bugged, and they found little bugs or little tape recorders. I mean, little those micro projectors or whatever like that, or video cameras. They found them in the house, bro. So by them having those things in the house, and people know there's drugs, there's alcohol, there's loose women, there's loose men, woman on woman, man on man, all kind of crazy shit. Bruh, they just wondering who or when they're gonna let this stuff be known. But not only celebrities, I don't think it's only celebrities gonna be shook. He had politicians in there. He had princes in there. He also had a couple of preachers in there. Hallelujah. That's crazy.
You personally, you think they got tapes?
Well, my personal opinion that if Lil Rod could be trusted and his statements are true, they got him. They got tapes and stuff.
If you lived inside the late 2000s tabloid hurricane, you already know Diddy's parties were infamous. The guest lists read like Grammy seating charts. But the real intrigue was architectural. Basements paneled in black marble, mirrored ceilings with air vents that never blew air, 24-karat light switch plates that clicked twice when you flipped them. Former staffers say the double click was a tell. The first click turned on the chandelier, The second powered a thumbnail-sized camera tucked where only an electrician would look. No one noticed in the dim glow of mood lighting because no one was supposed to. The cameras had one job: capture compromise. A Hollywood AV contractor anonymous in court papers, but notorious in private DMs, claims he installed 156 microcams at Diddy's Holmby Hills estate over a single 3-day weekend. He wasn't asked to run cables. Everything was routed to encrypted terabyte drives behind a false wine rack. Payment arrived in cash, vacuum sealed, inside a shoebox. His NDA forbade him from keeping blueprints, but he kept photos, snapped on a burner phone he later buried in a Utah storage unit. Why such paranoia? Because leverage is bulletproof. In an industry where a leaked rumor can slash 80 million off an opening weekend box office, an actual video time-stamped, high-def with unmuted audio can stop phone calls, kill exposes, and cancel subpoenas. Guests learned the rules quickly: hand over your smartphone at the door, sign the privacy waiver, receive a numbered key fob that opened your valet parked McLaren after sunrise. Most shrugged price of admission for the best champagne on either coast, right? Yet the smartest actors kept their invitations framed on a wall and never RSVP'd. One Oscar winner famously sent her dog with a GoPro collar instead. By 2015, every party hall, guest suite, sauna, and indoor pool in Diddy's orbit was rigged. A concierge once joked the mogul could stream his own surveillance to HBO and still win an Emmy for Best Reality. The laughter dried up in 2023 when Cassie Ventura's civil complaint opened with a single ice-cold line: "Mr. Combs preserves memories the way hunters preserve trophies." Then came Homeland Security, dawn raids, and armored vans trundling down cul-de-sacs that usually see nothing scarier than an Amazon truck. Agents lifted crates of hard drives labeled with handwritten dates. Some labels were circled in red. A leaked affidavit claims 2 names sat beside those red circles: W. Smith and J. Pinkett.
Jada Pinkett and Will Smith, you told me before that you was at a party before that they attended and you said the party was weird. Tell me about that.
Okay, this is boxer. His name Twan. He's from our neighborhood. He was married to Tanisha Arnold. The broad played Pam on Martin Lawrence. We went to the party with her. I mean, it was matter of fact, it was a set it off party. Jada Pinkett, Vivica Fox, all of them was there. You know what I'm saying? It was just seemed like Puff and Tupac was like a couple, seemed like to me. It was just a lot of weird shit going on, you know what I'm saying? The vibes ain't there. I guess that's what Tupac was talking about, the Illuminati and shit. It's like Vivica Fox was with this big gay man. He was 6'9". They called him, his name 6'9". He had the red hair with a big old booty and shit. Nobody was gaying him over. What the fuck is going on here? It's just a lot of weird shit, dude. You know what I'm saying? That shit, it ain't right. You know what I'm saying? I guess that's what Tupac, I guess he wanted to get up out of the Illuminati or something. But I seen her there. Matter of fact, MC Lyte pulled off with Tanisha Arnold. You know what I'm saying? In her brand new 560, black one. Yeah, that shit weird, dude. Yeah, that's some weird ass shit going on, you know? Yeah.
And what was Tupac doing at the party, yo?
Him and Puff was there together. They was there, you know what I'm saying? Party was weirdoed out. Yeah, and it was Jada Pinkett. But
You saying the whole party was weird. What did you see at the party that made it weird? I mean, I'm confused.
I guess it was the Illuminati. It's just weird. I know I wouldn't want to be part of some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm from the old school, dude, and that shit wasn't really tolerated with my generation. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, hate crime, yes, but it's more tolerated these days and nothing like that. It's more, you know what I'm saying, more open now, you know what I'm saying? But back then it was kind of fishy, you know what I'm saying? Still kind of fishy, you know, but it's more, you know, out there now.
The incident y'all had with Warren G and Kid Frost. Tell me about that, my man.
Okay, Kid Frost had gave a party at the House of Blues. One of our big homeboys wanted to go with us, you know what I'm saying? So he went with us and he said, "Ooh, you young niggas have fun." So one of Kid Frost's homies still on my big homie.
Rumor says the Smith marriage cracked open at a party most A-listers would rather forget. Summer 2016, Malibu Coast, a hillside rental nobody used twice. Photos surfaced later, a narrow infinity pool. String lights reflecting off placid water, 16 faces blurred by pixelation. Sources swear a pair of those blurs belonged to Will and Jada. Mid-argument in the shadow of a bamboo hedge, what triggered the fight? Allegedly, a USB drive slipped under Will's plate at brunch the next morning, 37 seconds of basement footage nobody was supposed to see. Jada's 2023 memoir, Worthy, finally confirmed the pair had been life partners with full autonomy since 2016. Fans heard empowerment, industry fixers heard a firewall if you admit the marriage is open, no footage can expose you, self-own your secrets, and blackmail loses its fangs. Yet the rumors rolled on. Bloggers whispered about a second reel, this one featuring a rented villa in Anguilla, 2 unnamed models, and a table lined with oddly colored gummy bears. The clip's authenticity has never been proven, but its shadow was large enough to shape crisis strategy memos after Will's Oscar night slap in 2022. One advisor allegedly warned, give zero discovery. The moment a subpoena hits, those tapes surface. Even Jada's entanglement confession on Red Table Talk began to look strategic, fled the zone with candor, choke off blackmail prophets, and dare the tabloids to call it old news. Meanwhile, Will filmed a motivational YouTube series about fault and responsibility, speaking to camera with eyes that looked quietly exhausted. Viewers saw vulnerability. Hollywood lawyers saw a man reading pre-cleared lines to control a detonation he couldn't predict.
It was a big breakup for us. We were actually looking towards separating and divorcing. And we separated. The world just didn't know. Then we had a reconciliation. And then 2016 came, and we had the ultimate break. But the world didn't know. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's where some of the misconception about having an open marriage came into play, because we were living lives as single people, and the world didn't know. Over the span of 12 years of just trying to figure out this thing called love and marriage between Will and I, it's been a trip. And I think that even with that entanglement piece, which I talk about extensively in the book, how I played a part in the misconception of that narrative of allowing myself to be portrayed as an adulteress, allowing myself to be portrayed as someone that had betrayed Will. And that wasn't the case. We broke up in 2016. He went on to live a life as a single man. I went on to live a life as a single woman. And then when we had the talk at the Red Table, I was gonna go to the Red Table by myself to talk about the entanglement. But Will decided he wanted to come with me. And we were going to then tell the world, hey, we haven't been together. And this happened during that time. Well, when we got to the table, Will wasn't ready. He wasn't ready. He wasn't ready for the world to take this heat. Because guess what? The heat is coming either way. Whether when we decide to get divorced, when we decide to separate, whatever. This is my practice run. Strip it down. Let it go, Jada. And then let's see what's left. I didn't have to put that particular show out, but I had already gotten myself so ready for that journey for myself. And to me, that was moving closer to my freedom than holding back and creating a narrative that I felt like was just gonna entrap me more. And as difficult as it's been, because the irony is I spent so much of our relationship having this open communication between he and I, creating this beautiful friendship of authenticity and honesty. And so to be labeled as someone who had cheated on him was devastating. But it also put me in a position where I had to learn how to let go of what anybody thought about me and really be 10 toes down on understanding who I am and being able to walk in that. You know, it's kind of like that is the walk when they talk about walking on hot coals. It's like creating that level of, when we talk about that inner world work and creating that like strong foundation within yourself of knowing exactly who you are, no matter what other people think about you. I mean, I've gotten that to a certain degree. And so that was a very challenging moment. And I talk about it in the book because I feel like so many people are challenged in that way of like, how can I just walk in this world and be okay with myself no matter what? And I talk about the journey, you know, really extensively in the book. But there have been so many misconceptions about my relationship with Will. But I think that everybody suffers misconceptions. Once again, whether you're head of the PTA and your husband's that doctor and you're the lawyer, you know what I mean? And you're like the creme de la creme of your friend group or, you know, of your community. And so everybody's expecting you to have a certain kind of marriage. And marriage is a journey, you know, and it's a journey towards learning how to love yourself and learning how to love your partner. And there's not one way to do it. And everybody, I think we do that journey a real disservice of trying to make it this cookie cut thing. Like, no, you can only do it this way.
November 16.2023 sounded ordinary until 9 p.m. when Cassie dropped a 35-page lawsuit like a piano out a penthouse window. Physical assaults. Forced pharmaceuticals, hush money, hidden cameras. The details weren't just lurid, they were time-stamped. 24 hours later, Diddy wrote a settlement check rumored between $30 and $45 million. One entertainment attorney quipped, "There isn't enough white out in Beverly Hills to redact that much embarrassment." 3 months later, Rodney Lil Rod Jones filed a 73-page legal grenade. He accused Diddy of everything Cassie alleged, plus recreational drug cocktails and a yacht incident involving Oscar winner Cuba Gooding Jr. Jones's complaint also quoted Diddy bragging. "That's why I lit up Club New York and let Shine take the fall." Lawyers gasped. Federal investigators sharpened pencils. March 25.2024. Dawn. Black SUVs rolled toward Diddy's Los Angeles spread. In Miami, helicopters whirred above Star Island. Neon-vested agents toted black Pelican cases stuffed with drives so old they used firewire. By nightfall, a Washington press conference confirmed it. The Department of Homeland Security had opened a sex trafficking RICO probe spanning 23 years, multiple states, and numerous high-profile individuals. Label executives read the indictment draft and circled one sentence: "Video and audio recordings cataloged by defendant were used for intimidation, procurement, and obstruction." Translation: every frame on those drives could become a criminal overt act. Juries don't debate metadata, they watch it.
Tell me the story about how Puffy wanted to fight Will Smith over Jennifer Lopez.
Oh, man. We were at a birthday party that I think either Matt Damien was giving for Ben Affleck. It was just a little gathering. They was at the Four Seasons. Will Smith and his sister and her husband, we were all sitting on this side of the room. Matt Damien, Ben Affleck, Jennifer Lopez, Puff, Will Smith, and Jada, and it was sitting on the other side of the room. So I know Puff so well that he stood up. When he stood up, he walked and did his own some kind of way, like, and then he went like this, you know, like, and I went over towards him. I know to go over there towards him. So I go over towards him, and he said to me, he said, "Yo, I think Will and Jada is trying to scoop up Jennifer. I want you to stay close, because I'm going to snuff him." I said to myself, Will Smith gonna beat the shit out you. Now, Puff could scrap now, but I don't think he could beat Will Smith. He said that shit. So I didn't go back over there where Will Smith's sister and her husband was. I stayed like in the, like about, if he snuffed Will, I could move slow enough that Will could probably get 2 or 3 punches back in. Yeah, but that shit was funny. He thought that Jada and Will was coming on too strong to Jennifer, making advances.
Rodney Jones thought he'd landed a dream gig, behind-the-scenes videographer for Diddy's 2023 album Love. Instead, he claims he was groomed as both cameraman and unwilling co-star. In court filings, he describes being woken from a blackout aboard a yacht, naked between 2 sex workers while Combs snapped photos. He alleges upper thigh groping, spiked cocktails laced with Molly dust, and an instruction to store every SD card in a fireproof safe labeled house library. The worst detail may be organizational. Jones claims he opened a Pelican case marked Yacht Nights 2022-23. Inside, a leather notebook listing names beside strange hash codes, likely file IDs prosecutors later. Matched hashes to drives seized in the raid. One FBI cyber unit analyst reportedly muttered, "This isn't a trophy case, it's a ledger." Meanwhile, Cuba Gooding Jr. woke to find his name in paragraph 214. Witness intimidation, yacht deck whispered threats. His team calls it fiction, but civil court only needs 51% certainty. If Gooding flips, he becomes the missing puzzle piece, a famous corroborator who can translate silent video into spoken testimony. Jones's suit survived a motion to dismiss judge, said the allegations suggest a pattern of predation. Translation, it stays in discovery, and any settlement requires the plaintiff's signature. No more 24-hour hush money miracles.
Fine. If you read the documents, in his mind, he was so scared that when he went to other people in the camp and said, "Why did he treat me? Why did he doing this and doing that?" They said, "Oh, he just playing with you because he love you. He like you." He was, no, he was trying to instill that fear in you that he had in you. And he won.
Yeah, that does make sense, man. And me looking at this lawsuit, he's also, alleging that he met Cuba Gooding Jr. through Diddy on Diddy Yacht. And it even got to a point where he started touching him on his, upper inner thigh near his groin, according to him.
Did you see the picture?
Nah, I didn't get to see it, but
Oh my God. Yo, listen to me, man. I don't know if it was what they call it when you take 2 pictures and they put it together and stuff like that. What they call it when they put the pictures together and it don't belong together, but they put it together. Whatever.
Side by side.
Yeah, whatever they call that. Cuban Gooding Jr. was so close to that. That was his lady. That's how close he was to him. And then his hands all on his leg and everything. It was crazy, bro. I don't even believe that. So when you see Cuban Gooding fighting a case here in New York, when he said the girl was saying that he was groping her and everything like that, I'm glad they didn't show that picture at his trial. Because he would have been guilty. That's how close he was to that kid, man.
So you seeing on pictures, do you believe his claims?
Yeah, I believe his claims. Somebody put something in Cuban Gooding Jr. ear that this was fresh meat, or see can you break him, or see can you do something? Because don't no other man be that close to no other man, for that reason. Come on, bro. That's crazy.
Hey, do you know him? Have you ever met him before?
No, I don't think I met him before. Cuba, I can't recall me, no.
December 27.1999, 3:00 a.m. Champagne fizzes over velvet ropes at Club New York. Someone throws cash in the air, someone else throws shade. Minutes later, 3 patrons hit the floor bleeding. Police recover 2 40 cal casings, and hours later, a 9mm Glock near rapper Shine. The math never adds, but tabloids move on. Shine is convicted, Diddy walks, Jennifer Lopez slips out a side entrance and rebrands by Valentine's Day. Fast forward to 2024, victim Matanya Rubin posts an Instagram reel, she's willing to lose an eye if surgeons need bullet fragments as evidence. Why? Because Lil Rod's lawsuit quotes Diddy admitting he lit up the club. If prosecutors prove the shooting advanced a criminal enterprise, say, by frightening witnesses, RICO resets the clock. A cold case becomes a fresh racketeering count. Shine. Now Belize's opposition leader calls himself the permanent fall guy. He claims Diddy's security team literally delivered paid witnesses to NYPD detectives. Statute of limitations for attempted murder is gone, but perjury and obstruction are not, especially inside a RICO web. Then there's that ballistics hiccup cops logged. 40 cal cases, even though Shine's registered piece was a 9mm. If the slug in Ruben's cheekbone matches 8 at 40, a jury could decide the wrong man did 10 years. Suddenly, Diddy's civil settlements look like pennies next to potential restitution. 2002, Los Angeles Four Seasons Hotel. Ben Affleck hosts a private dinner. Matt Damon, Jennifer Lopez, Will and Jada, and Diddy with 2 bodyguards in Brioni suits. According to a retired boxer who later spilled the story, Combs leaned over and hissed. Will and Jada are trying to scoop Jennifer. Stay close, I'm gonna snuff him. The boxer laughed. Combs did not. Lopez. By then, Hollywood's hottest Latina star. Linked 3 flashpoints. She was on Diddy's arm the night Club New York bled. She shared an agency with Will Smith. And she was a box office rival to every actress whose footage might sit on Combs's drives. Jealousy in Hollywood is lighter fluid. One studio exec recalled Combs cornering him if he lays hands on Jen. I'll nuke the Fresh Prince image. Fast forward 20 years. Lopez's security detail conducts quarterly forensic sweeps on every residence she occupies, hunting for leftover electronics that might trace back to bad boy engineers. Rumor says they found 4 dormant transmitters since 2019 too, in air conditioning ducts, one behind a vanity mirror, and one disguised as a USB charger in a guest room used by minor royalty. If prosecutors subpoena Lopez, headlines go thermonuclear. Why? Because she forces a spotlight on Diddy's most global guest list, athletes, politicians, even a British prince once photographed on his back deck, and where royalty walks. Interpol follows.
Lawsuit that has come out involving the producer Lil Rod. So basically his last 2 lawsuits, or last 2 major lawsuits, the one with Cassie, she made mention that Puffy made her carry his guns into nightclubs and wherever they went. And he threatened her to make her feel like she had to do so. And while there were lots of things of importance, that stood out to me. And I'm going to tell you why. In this lawsuit with the producer Lil Rod, they were both SA'd by him and threatened and physically harmed. But in this lawsuit, he appears to be a very young producer to me. But he said something very specific. As a means of threatening him, Puffy said, that's why I shot up the club in New York back in 1999 and let Shine take the fall for it. Let me tell you why that's of utmost importance to me. Because I am the woman who he shot in the face in that 1999, December 27th, 1999, Club New York shooting. I have told everyone ad nauseum since then, even the surgeon who did the surgery to take the bullet, I literally have told everyone and never changed what I said. I watched him. I got pow-powed in the face. I watched him fire the gun. I've said it all this time. Even the surgeon who did my surgery to take out part of the bullet fragments that was aspirating into my lungs and try to remove as many bullet fragments as possible, testified in the criminal trial that while they were putting me under, I was screaming, Puffy, pew pew me in the face. He testified in the criminal trial. It is in the record. They all knew he did it. Everybody knew he did it. But he paid off the club bouncer named Charisse and all these other people and the club owners with their video to hide the video. That's his MO. I told everybody that. This man almost took my life, has traumatized my life, has caused undue harm, irreparable damage to my life, lied his behind off. I've had all these youngins on the internet harassing me, swearing that I'm making it up that he did it. And look what he did to Lil Rod. He threatened him. Oh, you don't think I bust my gun? I shot up the club in Club New York and let Shine take... Well. It only took 24 whole years for it to come out. You see this tattoo? This commemorates me getting shot. It took 24 years for him to come out and say it. I've been saying it all along, but y'all pick and choose who y'all want to believe. Oh, baby. You ain't seen nothing yet. Not only did he pew me in the face, he also set off a course of harassment against me for the past 24 years. When I tell you the things I went through, there was a time in 2017 and 2018 where I got 7 flats on my BMW. 7, the same tire, in a 2-year span. 7 on the same tire, and they were all new. Every time it happened, I had to get a new tire. I have the pictures to prove it. Harassing me. You want to know why? Because prior to Cassie, I was the only person to be victimized by him and then to successfully sue him and get paid. And he had to pay me out of his pocket. He has never gotten over that. Oh, baby. You see this RICO charge that's about to come? This conspiring and pew-pewing up the club and ruining or attempting to ruin my life? As God as my witness, I will not stop until you suffer every single iota of... I had some youngins on the internet that ain't even old enough, that weren't even alive when it happened, arguing me down, cussing me out, calling me everything but a child of God. Go check Instagram, it's there. Harassing my life. Harassing me. Oh, you lying, he ain't do that to you. You just want clout. You just chasing clout. What is that to chase clout about? How is that clout chase worthy? It doesn't even make sense. Well, I guess it will make sense in this new generation, but you better believe I will have my say. I will have my say. Hashtag having my say. Hashtag the dopest nerd ever. Hashtag Eb Talks. Y'all ain't seen or heard nothing yet.
The current indictment is 118 pages of concrete allegations wrapped around one steel spine. Bad Boy Enterprise ran like a mafia crew in designer suits. Charges range from sex trafficking and interstate narcotics to wire fraud and obstruction. Minimum sentence, if RICO sticks, 20 years maximum. Life plus forfeiture of everything from the Cyrock stake to the publishing catalog. Who flips first? Prosecutors gamble on the unglamorous, a personal chef who logged 3 a.m. Courier deliveries, a chauffeur who kept mileage receipts, a junior accountant who processed consulting fees to shell companies in Delaware. One veteran mob prosecutor put it bluntly, secretaries send kingpins to prison. Entertainment lawyers whisper that 5 bigger names have approached the Point Use attorney's office, sniffing for immunity deals. 2 are former bodyguards. 1 is a retired house manager. 1 is a Grammy-nominated engineer. And the 5th is an A-list performer who fears a career-ending clip. Talent agencies are quietly stress-testing contracts to see if morality clause breaches void streaming residuals. Meanwhile, hedge funds short Spirit's giant Diageo, betting the company may dump its partnership if Combs' equity gets frozen. A guilty verdict could also pierce corporate shields, yanking licensing cash away from sublabels and sinking valuations of music rights portfolios across Wall Street. Panic trickles down to real estate. Luxury brokers say 2 Beverly Park mansions were yanked off the market after potential buyers asked whether the properties had camera infestations. Will and Jada aren't charged with anything. Neither is Jennifer Lopez, nor half the names swirling like debris in this legal storm, yet every one of them now stands inside a silent countdown. Because the moment prosecutors press play on a courtroom monitor, reputations can vaporize in 90 seconds. Maybe the drives contain nothing but overhyped gossip. Maybe the worst footage was wiped right before the raid, or maybe, just maybe, they hold the kind of scenes that trigger congressional hearings and cancel biopics in mid-shoot. Here's the kicker, leverage cuts both ways. If hidden cameras made Diddy untouchable for 20 plus years, those same files may now supply the nails for his legal coffin. And if a jury agrees that blackmail kept victims quiet, every NDA becomes a subpoena waiting to bloom. So circle May 5.2025, the day jury selection begins. One by one, the biggest names in music, film, politics, and even royalty may step into fluorescent light. Right hand raised, secrets ticking in their throats. The next leak could drop before breakfast. Stick with this channel, and we'll have front row seats when Hollywood's most guarded truths finally hit the sun.
So after him and Diddy fell out, he started working with Jodeci more. I see. How you feel about the victim of the club shooting? I gotta ask you about this, man. How you feel about her coming out now saying that, you know, Diddy, he shot her and not Sean? How you feel about that?
Well, the way I feel about that, the case is closed, bro. It can't be no double jeopardy. It can't be no retrial, because they already had a trial and a man was convicted for her injuries. A man already did time for her injuries. You understand? If they would have to go back and see that if there was ballistic tests done on Jennifer Lopez, on Puffy, God bless the dead, on Wolf, did they do ballistic tests? And then see if they did ballistic tests and Puff had gunpowder on him, you understand? Why didn't the police go through with charging him? Why didn't the police charge him? She can say that now, and she said that I don't take nothing from the victim. I don't take nothing from the victim. But her lawyer should have advocated. I know Puff and Sean, they had the same charges. But like I said before, and like Sean said also, Sean said this also, because it's true. Puff had witnesses that come in to testify against Sean now, and the case is over with. It's been what? Well, how many years it's been? 15, 20 years? 15, 17, 15. Sean went to jail for 10 years. It was in 99, right? So.
About 23 years, huh?
About 20 some years. Ain't nothing they could do about that, bro. They can't reopen that shit and charge him.
Yeah, I mean, she did say that she, you know, willing to lose an eye for authorities can, you know, remove the bullet fragment from her eye for they can use it as evidence against Diddy. So, I mean, she did say that.
Bruh, I find that shit to be hilarious. How much money would you give for your eye? How much money would you give for your eye? They didn't even say Puff had a gun. They didn't even find, Sean got caught with a gun coming out the club. They didn't catch Puff with a gun on him. They caught a gun in the car. There were 4 people in that car. 1 person is dead. What do you think the lawyer's gonna say? It was his. It was the bodyguard. It was the security. It wasn't Mr. Combs. You understand what I'm saying? So, she willing to lose an eye? And what is the fragment is come from Sean's bullet. Because what happened was, bruh, they shot in the air and things ricocheted and hit.
These new reports, right? How you feel about them saying that, you know, Jennifer Lopez, she was carrying the gun in her purse?
My man, you can't make me believe that. I've been around Ms. Lopez plenty of times. And even though they say Jenny from the block, she didn't rock like that, bro. For real, for real. I've been around Ms. Lopez a few times, more than a few times. You understand what I'm saying? She did not rock like that. She don't get down like that, bro. Not at all. She wouldn't be carrying no gun for no puffy. Not at all. I know that. Yo, I would bet anything on that one, bro. That's right there. That's some internet bullshit.
So with that being said, right, how exactly did Diddy do Shine wrong when it comes to the case? If you don't mind me asking, break that down.
Well, I believe Diddy did Shine wrong because he told security at the time, and the head of security of his everyday operation was Paul Offer. If y'all know somebody who was there at the club that witnessed the shooting, go find them. People was found by security and the street team and brought in to Puff. When Puff liked their story, what they saw, he gave it to their lawyer. Their lawyer then sent them to the DA's office, and those people testified against Sean. They had the same charges. So they separated lawyers. They had separate lawyers, and everything went on Sean because Diddy found the witness against Sean and brought him forward. So I guess that's how you do your man when you don't want to go to jail. That's what happened, bro. Sean said it in the whole interview. On that documentary that Sean did from jail, he spoke about that, but he forgave him.
If that was you, would you forgive him?
Man, I wouldn't, bruh. I'm not into forgiving. That's for Christ. That's what Jesus is for.
Do you personally believe Diddy should have did some time?
I think if Sean did time and they had the same case, if they had the same case and Diddy wouldn't have found those witnesses against Sean, they all would have went to jail. But because Diddy had, I think his name was Braxton, Jewish lawyer, and Johnny Cochran, he was able to separate himself from the crime that was committed. So do I feel like he should have went to jail? I wasn't on the jury. But had he not found those witnesses to go against Sean, he would have been in somebody's jail. And that's facts.